Today I'm here with you to discuss one of the most frequently asked questions in the polyglot community and among people who are interested in languages. And that is, what is the easiest language to learn in the world? My name is Tim Keeley, Professor of Cross-Cultural Management. And I hope with my 50 years of experience learning more than 40 languages, I can help you figure out the answer to this million-dollar question. First, let's talk about the myth and the truth. But the fact is, there is no single, universal, easiest language. Many Esperantists will tell you that Esperanto is the easiest language in the world. But I don't agree with that, and I'll tell you why. You see, Esperanto is a language constructed in the late 19th century with the goal of making it a universal second language. It is designed to be simple and easy to learn by drawing vocabulary and grammatical elements from various European languages. While Esperanto aims to be neutral and inclusive, its Eurocentric nature is evident, and it can seem completely foreign to speakers of non-Indo-European languages. For example, it will always be easier for a Thai person to learn and understand Lao than Esperanto, because Thai and Lao share common vocabulary, grammatical features, and cultural background. So next, what factors define the easiest language to learn? Well, the easiest language to learn is simply the language which is closest to your native tongue or language you know well in terms of vocabulary, grammar, and cultural background. For example, right now I'm in Bogota, Colombia, and this is where many years ago, back in 1975, I was studying at Universidad de los Andes, right over there by the mountain. But at the same time, I also studied French at Alliance Française, German at the Goethe Institute, and Portuguese at Instituto Brasileiro de Línguas. People may wonder, how could I do this, study 3 languages in a foreign language, Spanish? Well, if you study these languages, you'll notice that there are actually many similarities in grammar and especially vocabulary. For example, if we take the word information, in Spanish, información, in Portuguese, informação, in French, información, and in Italian, informazione. No matter how hard a language is, if there's a will, there is a way. We have a strong passion and a huge motivation to learn the languages we have chosen. I believe we could be fully engaged with our heart and mind and overcome any challenges which may seem objectively difficult. Slavic languages were extremely difficult for me at first when I started with Serbo-Croatian. They have a very complicated case system, well, except for Bulgarian and Macedonian, in which the ending of every word changes according to its function in the sentence. And I found this very difficult at first. But I fell in love with Slavic languages, and actually I wound up studying 10 of them up until now. Indeed, wholehearted engagement along with a positive mindset and determination can greatly increase our ability to overcome any challenges and make things that appear difficult quite easy. But there's another major factor that determines language difficulty, and that is cultural distance. Language is intricately connected to culture, and by immersing ourselves in the culture of the language that we're studying, we're able to understand the nuances, the idiomatic expressions, the social norms, and the underlying meanings. We can find some great examples in Japanese. When you present a business proposal and the party that you're dealing with says, "Maemuki ni kento shimasu." Well, "maemuki ni" is like positive, in a positive way. "Kento shimasu" means we will examine it. We will examine it in a positive way. Sounds great, doesn't it? Well, depending on the context, it can mean we're not interested at all. As we know, the easiest language to learn is going to be one of the languages which is closest to your mother tongue or a language you know well. So let's assume everybody listening to me now speaks English quite well. So let's see what the easiest languages are for English speakers. Based on data from the U.S. Department of Defense Language Institute and the U.S. Foreign Service Language Institute, the following 10 languages are considered the easiest languages for English speakers to learn. 5 of these languages are Romance languages: Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, French, and Romanian. And the other 5 are Germanic languages: Afrikaans, Dutch, Norwegian, Danish, and Swedish. Among the 5 Romance languages, Romanian presents some special challenges. When I first started to learn Romanian, I thought, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake because I already spoke Spanish, Portuguese, French, and Italian. But
what the hell is this? You said Romanian is a Romance language, but why is it so different?
the first factor is linguistic isolation. Romanian is the only Eastern Romance languages. The others we're discussing are Western Romance languages. And this isolation has led to some special characteristics in terms of vocabulary, grammar, and syntax. Romanian has also been influenced by contact between the Romanian-speaking population and the surrounding Slavic-speaking populations. Nevertheless, Romanian is more similar to Latin than the other 4 Romance languages that we're considering here in terms of vocabulary and grammatical features. Next, let's consider, are, for an English speaker, Romance languages easier to learn than Germanic languages? One reason why monolingual speakers of English might find Romance languages easier to learn is due to the historical influence of Latin. English speakers may find it easier to recognize certain vocabulary and grammatical patterns in Romance languages. 29 to 33% of English words are of French origin, and approximately 29 to 30% have Latin roots. The percentage of English words of Germanic origin are about 26 to 28%. As for grammar, German has certain complicated grammatical structures from the English point of view and declinations like in most of the Slavic languages. The other point is that German, Afrikaans, and Dutch have a phenomena known as verb separation. That means in sentences with modal verbs such as can, must, want, the main verb comes at the end of the sentence and the modal verb comes in the second position or the first position in the case of a question. For example, in German, ich kann Deutsch sprechen. The modal verb kann is in the second place and sprechen, to speak, is at the end of the sentence. Furthermore, when using the perfect tense, the auxiliary verb have or be usually comes in the second position and the past participle at the end. For example, in Afrikaans, ek het die boek gelees. Het is have, ek het, I have, gelees is the past participle, read, I have read the book. Okay, finally, I would like to give you some of my personal observation about these 10 languages because I have studied all 10 of these. Though I must say that Danish, Swedish, and Romanian are my weakest of the 10. Okay, so here are some observations that I hope will help you in studying these languages or choosing which of these languages you would like to study. In written form, Spanish and Portuguese are very similar. But due to Brazilian pronunciation, it's very hard to understand at first. For example, the word gente, people. In Portuguese, gente. So you don't catch it at first. You have to learn the phonetic patterns in Brazilian Portuguese. Once you got that, your speed in Portuguese will skyrocket. I encourage you to learn all 4, Spanish, French, Portuguese, and Italian, and then maybe Romanian too. Concerning the Germanic languages in this list, Afrikaans is often considered to be the easiest for English speakers amongst them. Its grammar is much simpler than Dutch grammar. You don't even have to conjugate verbs per person. They're all the same. And importantly, in South Africa, the Afrikaners love to speak Afrikaans with me. But when I try to speak Dutch in the Netherlands, people often switch to English, especially young people. It was very frustrating. So what I usually did in that case is I switched to Afrikaans. And concerning the Northern Germanic languages, the Scandinavian languages, I chose Norwegian first. And I found that Norwegian seems to be in between Swedish and Danish. Okay, summing up, I hope you agree that there is no single universal, easiest language to learn. And it depends on the lexical vocabulary, grammatical, and cultural similarities to languages that you know well. Passion and motivation to learn the language, that can make it seem a lot easier. If you have any questions about other language groups, please write them in the comments and I'll see if I can respond to them and help you out. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for listening.